Hello and welcome to Getting Fit in Memphis. My name is Yvette Smith, Memphis' leading personal trainer, and today I have a very special guest on the show with me, a fitness celebrity, Madonna Grimes. She's known as Miss Hip Hop Aerobics, and she has competed in many different events. She's the best dancer that I know of in the world, and today she's going to be sharing her journey with us. Madonna, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome, Yvette.
I appreciate you coming on the show, and I brought you on the show not only to educate everybody about the journey that you're going through, and I'll let you go into details about that, but also just to inspire people, because you've inspired me for years. I actually took one of your classes probably about 20 years ago. And it's been about 20 years ago, but it was hip hop aerobics, before because I teach Zumba and everything, but before Zumba and all this other stuff became so popular. You're basically the one, that I learned from, and you're very inspiring, very motivating, one of the best dancers I've ever taken a class from, and I just wanted you to come and share your expertise with the people in the city of Memphis, and to also share your journey, because I know that you can educate and inspire people as far as that's concerned. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I know you're busy, and I just appreciate the opportunity to have you.
Thank you, Yvette. You know I'm from Tennessee too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Wow.
Are you?
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Born in Knoxville.
Are you serious? Well, that is great. Everybody's really we love you, but we're really gonna love you now.
I got a lot of family. All my family's in Knoxville.
Oh, really? Are you serious? That is wonderful.
My mom moved to Ohio, and my aunt and uncle just moved back to Memphis. My aunt was from Memphis. She married my uncle. He's from Knoxville, of course. And they just moved back to Memphis to be with her family. So I'm a Tennessee girl too.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. That is wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit just about your background as far as what motivated you to start in fitness industry, or, what got you started?
Honestly, I come from dance. I come straight from dance.
Uh-huh.
I was born in Tennessee, Knoxville.
Wow.
And later on, my parents moved to Ohio.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, and I went to Ohio State, and then I went to NYU, things like that. But when I was growing up, we always danced. And did shows, and, we did talent show. The first talent show I won, I was in the 5th grade. Yeah, and my girlfriend that I won it with, she just came to stay with me to help me with my situation,
Uh-huh.
And we talked for a week, and she said I was so bossy.
Oh.
What? I don't remember. She said I told her everything to do. She said, now we're going to do this, and now we're going to do that. Now point your toes. I don't even remember.
Are you serious?
I swore I thought she did everything. She said I did everything, but everybody always said that. Now that I speak to everybody from my childhood, they said I was so bossy. And I always had something for everybody to do.
Oh, wow.
And I was always doing things, which I knew that I put my brother in camp. I wanted to study gymnastics. My mom's like, you're crazy. I found gymnastics at the park,
So dancing comes natural for you then?
I found people who could dance, so I could dance. This is stuff that I wanted to do. Nowadays, we as parents, we put our kids in everything.
Uh-huh.
It was the opposite. I was saying, put me in this, put me in that. I need to do this, I need to do that. And no one would.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically, was self-taught. By the time I was in high school, I made varsity when I was a freshman, and I just, I was always in charge. I was always, the captain, choreographing, putting everything together. I auditioned for Ohio State's dance department. I got in. Went to Ohio State, tried out for cheerleading. I got in. I cheered for Ohio State. My senior year, my partner dropped me. He was a freshman. Mm-hmm. He didn't mean to, but he hurt my knee.
Oh, wow.
And that introduced me to fitness. Because I had to go to therapy. When I went to therapy, I learned about training, doing leg extensions and curls and stuff like that. And at that time, because I'm 53, so aerobics was just starting. So Buckeye aerobics was starting. So we would do aerobics to get us ready for. We did 2 a days. The football team did 3 a days. That means two trainings a day.
Uh-huh.
And 3 days means 3 trainings a day.
Not to interrupt you, but you are the best 53-year-old I've ever seen. You look great.
Now, what I went through, I probably was better than this. But thank you, by the way. We did cheerleading, and the cheerleaders that finished before I did, that were older than I, they were going into fitness.
Mm-hmm.
They were going into competitive aerobics. They were doing bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still in cheerleading and dance. And in college, I was a popular choreographer.
Mm-hmm.
And choreographed everything for everybody. So I would choreograph for them. And one year, they were doing an aerobics competition, and I graduated. I moved to New York, and I got in the dance department at NYU, and I auditioned for a show called Bubble and Brown Sugar, and I got it, and we went on tour in Europe.
Wow.
And my girlfriends, I was like 21, 22. My girlfriends were still in Ohio doing competitive aerobics, and they wanted me to come home and do it with them. So when I got off tour for about a couple weeks. I flew home and did the competition with them. We won. And then I choreographed our nationals, and our nationals was on NBC,
Mm-hmm.
LA. So we flew out to LA. We did the TV show, and we won. And, so I was still on tour dancing and stuff like that. And then when I got off tour, I was aerobics champion.
Wow.
So I went on tour with them,
Mm-hmm.
and on tour I would choreograph for them and everybody. Because I was used to, since high school, I would choreograph for other high schools.
Mm-hmm.
It was all ghetto stuff, push,
Uh-huh.
push, shake, shake, It was, it was
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, round, It was that kind of stuff. I had a double background. I had a double background of push, push, shake, shake, ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
And cheerleading stuff was like straight. So I had like 2 qualities. I also could tumble.
Mm-hmm.
I could partner. So I had a lot of qualities all mixed in, coming from dance, cheerleading, And then after I finished my master's,
Mm-hmm.
I'd already done 2 shows, 1 tour. One show brought us to LA, which showed like He-Man and She-Ra and the Masters of the Universe. I come off tour doing 1 show. My roommate was dance captain of another show. They needed a dancer. I auditioned real quick, and I did that for 6 months, which brought me to LA. We were at the sports arena in LA, and they were like, you guys, they want us to stay 2 more weeks. And I was like, so we'll fly you back to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd already sublet my apartment. They said, we don't have to fly you back. Stay in LA, and we'll put you up. We'll pay for it. I said, well, I'll just stay in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So when I stayed in LA for those few weeks before our show started up again, I learned LA.
Wow.
I told all my dancer friends, introduce me to your agent. I went to the agencies. I got an agent. I auditioned. I wanted to audition as an actress, because I wanted to be an actress. I didn't want to dance.
Mm-hmm.
I auditioned as an actress. They brought me in the theatrical department and the dance department. But they said I had to move back to LA. And I didn't know if I wanted to live in LA.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ugh. I don't know if I want to live here. But I didn't tell them that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to New York, and Dirty Dancing was happening. Kenny Ortega and all of them, they're friends of mine. My friends were doing Dirty Dancing because Kenny started doing a tour for Liz Imperio and Jay and all them. Jay, all of them were my roommates from New York. And they were like, we have to move to LA. So I said, I'll sublet. So I sublet with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept my apartment in New York, my friend Pat and I. So I was living in LA and New York, and I was doing both shows. I know, where does fitness come in? I was always teaching. When I would go back to New York, I was teaching aerobics.
Mm-hmm.
I go to LA, they wanted me to teach at Voight, and I was like, they said, let's create something for you, Madonna. That's what Hank said. He was Karen Voight's husband. I said, okay, my class is called Cardio Hip Hop. So he created this big opening for me, but he invited people, gave them invitations, and everybody came. All the instructors, anybody came.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I had been aerobics champion. I had done shows on tour. It didn't make me nervous for anybody to take my class.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, come take it. Where are you going?
So did that bring you to getting your dance studio in LA, or
Right. I mean,
that's what led?
Everybody took my class. They wanted to see who I was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I turned it out.
Mm-hmm.
So the talk was me, you know. Everybody would take my class, and after a couple of years, I was like 28, 27, 28. I'm like, I don't want to turn 30 and have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Have this, you know. So I'm going to just open a studio with no money. I didn't know how I was going to do that. So I just started talking to friends, and one of my friends, my closest friend, her parents had money, but she didn't. And I said to her, if we put together a proposal and we gave it to your parents, maybe they'll fund us. She was like, I don't think so. They barely give me money now. And I said, let's ask. So she asked, and her parents were so happy she was trying to do something with her life. They're like, oh, you want to do something with your life instead of just live off of us?
That's great, and that's inspiring for other people who want to be entrepreneurs.
They thought I was great.
Uh-huh.
But I had gone to Argentina and pulled her out of Argentina. So we put together a proposal. I paid this girl that I met on tour to do a proposal for me,
Mm-hmm.
a full business proposal. And I swear, back then she only charged me like $200.
Oh, wow.
You know, and you know, that was a lot for me, but that was like perfect. I can pay that.
So how many years have you had your dance studio?
Well, I had it 18 years.
Oh, great.
But that's how it began.
Uh-huh.
I put together a proposal, and her parents said, okay, they'll give us some money to open it.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent her big brother there to help us, because I told her every day, this is what I tell everybody, when you want to become something, try to become that person.
Mm-hmm.
I told her we have nothing to do. I taught like 2 classes a week, and then I would go to Europe and teach and come back. And said, okay, so every day we got up, and I wanted them to be at my apartment at 8 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
dressed in suits, you know, skirts and heels, dressed, pen and paper, and we brainstormed on our idea.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 4 of us at the beginning. It was me and Irene, and then 2 of my other friends, which I won't say their names, but they're pissed that they didn't stick with me. They always talk about it. Oh, I can't believe I didn't stick with you, you know. And they would show up, and we would just like brainstorm, and then I started making appointments to see properties.
Mm-hmm.
I told them I made appointments to see properties. They're like, well, we only have money. I'm like, don't worry about it. We would show up in our heels and suits and briefcase with nothing in it, and be like, I like this property, 4,000 square feet, okay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work, you know? But we learned all about how to work with the city, you know, when we leased the property, you know, the people told us how to work with the city of West Hollywood. They were like, bring them flowers,
Mm-hmm.
and become friends with them. So I did that. I would bring them flowers, become friends with them, and the gay boys were like, oh, she's so cute. What's her name? You know, girl, yes, we're going to give you your fire permit. Yes, child, don't worry, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I learned how to do the business side of it. Irene wasn't interested. She was like, oh, she was so, you know, interested in just dance. I said, okay. But I had to teach her everything, because I had gone to college, and I have 2 degrees in dance, but I made sure I took like computers,
Mm-hmm.
business, and everybody used to think I was crazy. They were like, well, why are you taking all these classes? I said, because I got to know this part too.
Yeah.
Thank God I did, because when we opened the studio, I was the only one to do anything about the computer.
So not to interrupt you, Madonna, but can you tell us about skip over kind of to your videos and that you offer, and you know, your fitness videos? And
yeah, once I opened the studio, we got the studio running, and I became popular. People walked in the door.
Mm-hmm.
and offered me things like that. They offered me, somebody walked in the door and said, hey, I want to shoot your videos for you. And it was a woman from BET. And I had met her, I'd done a show at BET. And then we became friends. She was a producer, and she came in and she was like, I want to shoot a video for you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So she shot my first video,
Okay.
you know. And then another company came that was more fitness oriented, came to me and said, we want to shoot your next videos.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, because I opened up a studio,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a popular spot right in West Hollywood in Los Angeles, that people would walk right in my door looking for me and ask me for things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was there, I was watching these fitness girls. They were becoming popular, and I was still loving competitive aerobics. I'm like, I could compete today. I'm kind of crazy. I'm one of those people, stop me on a back handspring. Okay, move, I can do it. You know, I'm still crazy. I still think about it every day. Oh, I go back to gymnastics, and you know, and I am going to go back to gymnastics.
So this really is a lifestyle then for you, we should say then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still one. This little hump, this health hump is over. I used to do gymnastics twice a week until this happened. So basically, I just, you know, that's what I did. People came through the door, and I decided to compete in this fitness. What happened was I auditioned for the show. It was the Funk Dance Championships on ESPN, and I got it. And James Black, he's a popular actor now, he got it also. So we were both hosts on ESPN. And the guy who produced that show, he produced the Miss Fitness America.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go, Lou, what is this? I would look in his office, what is this? What is this? He said, Miss Fitness America. You should do that, Madonna. You think I could do that? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So one year he had asked me, he asked Magic Johnson, he asked us to judge, right? So I said, okay, we came to the meeting, and I was looking at the girls, and I said, okay, I went to Lou. I said, Lou, I changed my mind. Do I have to judge? He was like, what do you mean? I said, I'm still young. I said, you know, I can win this competition. They all started laughing because I didn't say, can I compete? I said, I can win.
Uh-huh.
They're like, Madonna, you are crazy. You can win. I said, is that what I said? Well, I can. I can win this competition. Can I do it?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay. I mean, you have to work your way up. Okay. He said, competition starts tomorrow. I'm like, okay. He said, Madonna, this girl's been dieting for 6 months. I'm like, really? I don't know anything about diet. All I knew is how to eat correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what not to eat, when to eat, but I wasn't into the
Diet, so to speak, huh?
bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And they did tricky things,
Uh-huh.
you know, and they took drugs, not really drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they took things to get their water weight
Yeah.
out. That wasn't my world. My world was dance. I was in West Hollywood. I wasn't in Venice Beach with the bodybuilders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really wasn't my world. And it was surprising to find out as many things as they did to be cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I did nothing. I was already cut.
Mm-hmm.
But I was cut. I was ripped from cheerleading, dance. And when I would tell them that, they were like, that doesn't make you cut. You know, I'm like, yes, it does. If you do it at my level. You know, so I competed that weekend. When Lou told me I could, the producer told me I could compete. And that weekend I did. And I remember at the end, it was 15 black girls in the competition, right? And we all stuck together. Yeah, we stuck together. And the other black girls would always complain. They would just be like, they're so fake. All this fake hair and fake nails. And I'm like, so? So I said, look, if I was doing something more natural, I would be natural too. Look, on the regular, I don't have nails.
Yeah.
On the regular, I don't have lashes.
Mm-hmm.
But since I'm in that kind of competition, I'm going to get nails. I'm gonna get hair, I'm gonna get lashes, and I'm gonna push my girls up too. Okay. So they were like really not into it. I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, okay, well, I want to win. So the competition kept boiling down, and it came down to it. I was the last black girl in the top 50, and the black girls were saying to me, Madonna, oh, I can't believe it, but you made it to the. You're making it far. They've never had anybody make it to the final. Never, not a black girl. And they were like, what are we going to do? I said, you guys go to the audience and cheer for me. If you notice, I have nobody in the audience. They're like, you don't know. I didn't tell nobody I was doing it. I just found out a day or so ago.
Wow.
And they called my name. Nobody would cheer. And Amy Fadley, she was a real popular fitness girl. She was right in front of me. People loved her. She competed for years. And they loved her, and they'd be like, Amy, Amy, Amy. And me, they'd be like, Madonna. And Amy was my friend. And I would go, Amy, because I would say, what do you do? What's this round? So how do you do it? And I would talk, Amy, what do you do? How do you walk? What do you do? Walk like this, Madonna, and then look and wink, and then stand and pose. And so I would do everything Amy would do. Photographers would come around, they'd be taking her picture, and she'd look at me, she said, and I'll run over to the photographer and stand next to her and do whatever she did, you know. Anyways, I won that weekend, you know, and then the magazine started calling me, but they called Amy more. And honestly, the only reason they called her more is because they knew her.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I knew that, and she would help push me too. When they started to call me, I decided to be the nicest person, the easiest person to work with. The word got out that I was so nice and so easy to work with that everybody started calling me.
Wow. It's amazing you say that, because that's what I remember from you 20 years ago when I met you, when I mentioned you to a few of my clients. That's actually what I said. I was like, she was so nice in person. She's so personable and easy to talk to, and
that's what helps.
Yeah, yeah.
It really helps, you know. And even when you are popular or you become popular, you know, to stay yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And be nice to people. I mean, you know, that's why I work so much. Everybody was like, she's so easy to work with. She's so nice, you know.
Yeah.
And so doing the magazines and stuff helped promote my career.
Yeah, that's true. So before we go, we don't have a whole lot of time. Can you tell us a little bit about your health journey and you know, little things that you can.
Well, you know, when I turned 50, I started going down the list. I've never been sick or anything. I said, oh, I'm supposed to have this, a colonoscopy when you're 50. You're supposed to da-da-da-da. I started going down the list. I wanted to have a colonoscopy because 6 months before that, I noticed a little bit of like blood in bowel movements, and I didn't know what it came from. I thought maybe because I had gone up high on my squats, you know, did squats twice a week. I'm like, maybe because I went up, you know, with my weight on my squats or something like that, but it never happened to me before. So when I went to go get a colonoscopy, they're like, you look too young. You look like you're 30. I'm like, no, I'm 50, okay? Give me a colonoscopy. They wouldn't give it to me. They were like, you don't need it. I said, but I have a little bit of blood in my bowel. And they would go, that's probably a hemorrhoid. How many kids you have? I go, I got one child. They said, well, you get hemorrhoids from having a child. I'm like, well, at that time, she was 6. Well, she's 6. They're like, well, no one will give it to me. I finally got one. And it was like February 2013. And he came out and he says, look, everything's fine. I just found this little bitty tumor in your rectum and it's malignant. I'm like, malignant? That means cancer? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God. How could that be? He said, oh, don't worry about it. Everybody has cancer. He said, everybody has, I learned that everybody has cancer in their body. We all have it. He says, it just depends when it decides to appear. That's what he said. But what happened is you can have a break in your immune system. And it can happen at any time in your life. Like usually they say it takes 8 to 10 years for it to manifest. So 8 to 10 years before before that, I might have had a break in my immune system. What is a break in your immune system? It means that something tragic happened in your life. Your parents died. You had a car accident. You went through a terrible divorce. Blah, blah, blah. You understand?
Yes.
You might have made it through it. You made it through it. You went through your divorce or whatever happened. But that was a short break in your immune system. Now, your immune system took a deep breath. Maybe after your divorce or whatever happened to you, you had pneumonia. Or you had a bad cold that took you like a week to get over because that wore you out. You know, whatever happened to you wore you out. That's a break in your immune system.
Oh, okay.
When you have a break in your immune system, it alerts your cancer cells. But it starts to develop, but it develops slow. It depends on how good a shape you're in. Some people, it develops right then. They become diabetic or, you know what I mean? They have blood pressure. This is another break in your immune system. Mine, it developed, it took about 10 years for it to develop. And right then was my journey. I did chemo and radiation, and then they said, we'll do surgery to remove it. But when she talked about surgery, she talked about removing my colon, part of my colon, my rectum, and my posterior vagina. And then I would be in a bag, you know, colostomy. I was like, wait, hold up. I can't see myself teaching with a bag, and wait a minute. And how are you going to build back my vagina? They're like, it takes about 5 years, but we can rebuild it. 5 years? So what do I do in 5 years? 5 years, I'll be 55, and I'm still in surgery? I was like, hold up, let me think about all this. They're like, well, you only got 6 months, and you probably die if you don't do anything. So that was February 2013. They said I would be dead by June 2013. So I went to John of God in Brazil. He prayed, he healed me for a little while. I've been working with Dr. Sam. He's another famous alternative doctor. He's been giving me vaccines, and they helped build up my immune system. I mean, I've been to Germany. I did their protocol. They brought down my cancer markers, and basically I'm still dealing with it. I'm stage 4 now. It has spread. It's in my lung and it's in my liver, and we're still fighting it.